Hey, what's going on, guys? Bflattened here with a brand new video today. And today we're going to be talking about the Borderlands 4 story, the plot, discussions about it, and what we predict it's going to be. Now, the first thing to really talk about before getting into the actual plot points and everything is that it looks like it's going multiverse, first and foremost. It just looks like it's going multiverse, and if that's the case, this could be a super hit or a super miss, because when multiverse things and media, whether it's like TV shows, movies, or games, have a major problem with them, and that is that it generally causes a lot of plot holes, considering you have to go back in a timeline, you have to go, oh, this has been changed in this timeline, it's now this is completely overwritten, blah blah blah. And because it has all these plot holes and its potential to just overwrite everything that's already happened, you can consider this lazy or bad writing. And this is the same team working on Borderlands 4 that worked on Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands. So if you weren't a fan of the writing style and story in those two games, Borderlands 4 is pretty much run by the exact same team, writing style, and more. So we know that lazy and bad writing is right in their wheelhouse. So that's the problem with multiverse. However, there is a once in a lifetime opportunity that it is actually pretty good. And my example is X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, I'm not the biggest X-Men nerd in existence, so someone might be able to correct that. But from what I understand, in previous X-Men movies, there was a lot of things that people didn't really agree with, like The Last Stand and more. This was under the helm of a different director. And then Days of Future Past came in, and another director took over, and he introduced sort of like a multiverse kind of style to overwrite all the bad, rewrote it into all the good, and then he introduced the next movie at the end. And I thought it was a pretty big hit. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me, but I thought it was pretty good. And if that is able to be replicated, I really hope that folks like, Sam Winkler ended up watching Days of Future Past and took some inspiration from it, because he kind of needs help. And from there, we're just going to go dive right into the plot points that I think is going to happen. Obviously, there's going to be some filler in between, so don't just take this as like a step-by-step, but let's go ahead and talk about that. So I think we're going to start off from a like right from the trailer that we saw, where Lilith is moving the planets, and there was that tear. I feel like we're going to have the vault key glow up, and Tannis is going to be like, oh, there's a call coming from Lilith, and there's going to be some form of distress call that Lilith is going to be calling for us. And that is kind of where we end up taking Sanctuary 3 now, and going to Elpis to see what gives with the whole ripping of the universes, and see what's up with that. From there, there's going to be a few side quests and filler things until our first contact with the Iridian robot thingies that were in the trailer. If you haven't seen my other video, feel free to go check out that video. It was a trailer breakdown video. It covers everything that I'm going to be talking about here. But the Iridian robot things that we're seeing in the trailer, I think that we're going to have our first contact with them fairly shortly after we land on the planet. And I'm going to presume that it's a dead one. And we're going to get some dialogue being like, oh, what's this? I've never seen that before. And then yada, 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 discussion and plot points about what it possibly could be, until we later on see a live one and we fight it. Iridium is still seen on Elpis. There's a purple glow on the planet. It could be cryo. I'm actually colorblind, so I might not be able to tell between the purples and blues. But it looks like Iridium, just kind of like veins of it, which means that the existence of Iridium may not be eliminated. And we know that it is a very desirable resource, and it will probably be a desirable resource for these Iridian robot thingies. And I think it's also going to have a callback to Lilith using Iridium for her powers, because if you remember in Borderlands 2, she quotes as it making her powers sort of awesome, and we have to collect like hunks of Iridium for her to use. And I think we're going to have a little bit of a callback to that to make her powers even like more than what they were, to be able to move planets. That's where I feel like she gets an extra boost and help. However, I think Lilith is going to likely turn evil. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but I think she's going to turn evil. The big bad will on occasion reveal who they are, their plans, and toss in mockery. That face at the end of the trailer that we talked about, it's not actually Handsome Jack. This was confirmed by Randy earlier today at the time of recording. It's supposedly someone more sinister and evil. It could be, I've seen people toss out the name Blake from Borderlands 1. Could be. But it could be an entirely new character, which I think it is. And I presume that's going to be our big bad. I imagine he's going to call us often and, you know, sort of mock us, talk about who he is, what he's going to do, take over the world, whatever, whatever. Big Bad recruits Lilith, and Lilith does an evil turn. Iridium fuels her and corrupted her in previous games. We got to see what Jack did to Lilith when he forced her to charge the vault key. She kind of had like this evil like aura to her. She was still her, but like she had this evil like aura to her almost. And I think that with enough Iridium pumping into her, that it could turn her evil. And I feel like that's what the big bad's going to do to Lilith. And I also feel like AI Jack is going to make an appearance somewhere. We know that AI Jack exists in Tales. If you haven't played that, give OG Tales a whirl. New Tales is garbage. But AI Jack is going to likely make an appearance. We know that Handsome Jack is not that dude at the end, but Randy never said anything about Jack reappearing or even the existence of AI Jack, and we don't know if he got deleted. So I feel like AI Jack is going to make an appearance somewhere, and we are going to suddenly realize that he was the hero all along. And if you've played Elden Ring, you would know that we owe Moog an apology. I think we owe Jack an apology, because this is what he wanted to prevent. This is the future that he wanted to wipe out and recreate in his image. So I think that we're going to owe Jack an apology after this game. That's just my thoughts. Likely character death or deaths is going to happen if Lilith ends up turning evil. I also predict that a few allies are going to be wiped out too. I predict Brick and Mordecai, because Brick hasn't really seen a major role in the games recently, and neither has Mordecai. Brick, Mordecai, and Tiny Tina formed to make the B team in Borderlands 3, and they weren't really seen besides a few side missions and a few dialogue. So I feel like one of these characters is going to get killed off, because they just haven't really had a lot going for them recently, story-wise, unfortunately. I like the characters, but I feel like one of them or both of them is going to get killed off. I feel like we're going to revisit a few known locations from the pre-sequel, just kind of like how Borderlands 2 did, and also previous games going to known locations previously, just before gearing up for the big bad. So we're probably going to, you know, maybe even visit the Helios station. Maybe we'll see Concordia, I believe it's called. Maybe we'll see where the tower was, where we went to go see the Marif, that sort of thing. War ensues. Our characters are going to have a showdown with the big bad while the war ensues. And the war that I'm talking about is Borderlands 3. So the war that was talked about in the pre-sequel was all allies are going to be needed. All Vault Hunters are going to be needed for this war that is coming. And if you know Borderlands 3's DLC, a majority of them introduced a returning Vault Hunter. We had the first one, we had Timothy. The second one was Blood, Love, and Tentacles. We had Gage return. Number 3 was an original. Number 4 was Krieg. Number 5 was Axton and Salvador. And number 6 was also an original. So we have a lot of returning Vault Hunters, including the ones that we've already had. And obviously we can't include the dead ones or the evil turned ones. So we have a place to move forward from that point. We also have the DLC 6 storyline where Lilith's actions caused a tear and a disturbance for their plan. So they're probably really mad at us, and they're probably really mad at Lilith. But I still foresee a turn with her, because her siren powers are far too desirable to pass up. But anyways, obviously there's going to be a lot of plot points in between, but those are just some of my major point outs. I know a lot of them are very tinfoil hat, especially the Lilith turning evil, but there's got to be something that is going to make this interesting story-wise, right? I feel like that would be completely out of left field. Well, anyways, that is my predictions for the story, the plot, a little bit of discussion about it. Feel free to let me know what you think is going to happen. If you agree with any of these points, if you completely hate all of them, let me know, and give me a idea of what you think is going to happen in the Borderlands 4 story. I'll see you guys on the next one. My name is Bflattened, and I'm signing on out of here. Take care, all. Laters.